Hi there, welcome to my channel and thank you for watching. So in this video, we're going to get into TV show and movie recommendations that I have for you. They all have Black women in the leading role or in a leading role. So the first recommendation is for those of you who are curious, adventurous, and open to genre bending. Some of the movies you might have enjoyed include John Dies at the End, The Blackening, or Death on the Nile. And I know, you might be thinking those don't seem that similar to each other, but you'll get where I'm going in a minute. The recommendation for you this fall is Diarra from Detroit. This show is so good. It's a genre bending show. So it gives you like this kind of mystery detective type of show, where there's like, it was 10 o'clock and I went down the hallway. I knew she was lying, something like that. If you get what I'm saying, you get it. But that type of vibe. But it combines that with comedy. Like there are some very, very funny scenes and jokes in this. So there's like a lot going on there. There's like a narrative, kind of like voiceover, where the lead is telling the story while you're watching it all unfold. Not the whole time, but intermittently. It's just right. So if you're open to trying something new, curious about something new, and wanting to get in those chills and thrills with something different this fall, then I highly recommend you check out Diarra from Detroit. The whole season is out now, so it's ready for binge watching. Okay, so the next set of recommendations are for those of you who are into out of this world content. Maybe you're interested in space, aliens, that sort of thing. I also put zombies in this category. But yeah, so this is, those of you, maybe you've enjoyed Star Trek, things like that. If you enjoyed The Walking Dead. So these are some recommendations that maybe you haven't heard of, for shows you can check out if you're in the mood for that type of vibe and you enjoyed those shows I just mentioned. So, okay, first we have The Aliens starring Michaela Cole. I thought it was so good. It was a while ago when I watched this, but it was really entertaining, really interesting, kind of more like on the gritty side, kind of more like a little bit serious, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's a story. It's a futuristic story about aliens, and I found it really entertaining and interesting. So I highly recommend checking that out this fall. The next one is Star Trek Discovery. You might have heard of this one. It's a Star Trek spinoff show with a Black woman in the leading role. I don't know. I can't say enough about it. I really loved it. Watched all of the seasons. Yeah, so if you're really interested in alien stories and space travel and that sort of thing, then I highly recommend that one. I would say the Aliens show is more like about aliens, humans, and the dynamics at play, whereas Star Trek Discovery is like more about, space travel and conflicts that arise between different, groups and planets and all that kind of thing. But either of those could be great, for this season. I would say Star Trek Discovery is a little bit lighter. Maybe there's like more jokes, that sort of thing. But there's definitely heavy themes as well in that show. The next one is The Expanse. The Expanse is like more serious, maybe than both of the other two. But it's a really good space show. For me, I started watching it years ago and couldn't really get into it. It seems so serious. But once I made it past the first 2 episodes, then I could really get into it. The Black woman character introduced, and I just could connect more with the characters. There are some really cute dynamics between the Black woman character and some of the different guy lead characters. So she has a love interest, but she also has this friend who's really protective of her, even though they're not together. He's just so protective of her, and there's something really sweet that goes on there. So this is a really cool show if you really like space travel type of themes, alien type of storylines. This one more, though, gets into just different themes of things that happen between humans in space and, the different dynamics that could come up, like sharing, resources and that sort of thing, although there are definitely aliens and stuff like that in the storyline. The last one in this category that I recommend is Z Nation. I don't know if you've heard of this one, but it's an extremely good show. It's very much a comedy. It takes itself seriously, but at the same time, it doesn't, for sure. So there's a lot of comedic elements in it. This is one of those zombie, a group of survivors fighting off zombies and during the apocalypse type of shows. Highly recommend it. I found it to be very interesting, has some jump scares, and gives you some laughs as well. The next category of recommended TV shows is for those of you who really like grounded, realistic thrillers. So you're not so much into zombies or aliens. Maybe you're just not in the mood for it right now even. Maybe you've enjoyed a show like Law and Order SVU or one of its other spinoffs. So if you're in the mood for something kind of like that with a Black woman in the lead, then these might be for you. So the first recommendation is Found. Found has one season out already, and it's returning this fall. I think it's the day that I'm recording this. I think their season 2 first episode will be premiering tomorrow, October 4th, but I'm not certain. Found is a really good grounded thriller. It's a show about a team of people led by the Black woman you see here on the screen, finding missing people who are often overlooked. So they focus on people who aren't being looked for. And these are typically people from underrepresented groups. And it's a very interesting show. There's a lot of thrills in it. Like it's kind of an intense show, but there's drama, there's storyline. It's one of those shows where there are overarching storylines, but it's mainly a case by case show. Each case they're trying to find someone different. The other show in this category is Reasonable Doubt. Reasonable Doubt similarly has one season out already, and then they're currently airing their fall second season. I devoured the first season. The second season, I'm a little behind on it. It's been very heavy for me. But if you're someone who really likes Law and Order SVU type of shows, and you're just kind of right now you're in the mood to watch, that kind of show, a kind of grounded thriller. Maybe there's heavy stuff going on, but it's really realistic type of stuff and not fairies and zombies and stuff. This could be something that you might want to check out. So it focuses on a Black woman lawyer and follows her as she takes on different cases and different challenges and life at work, at home, and all that sort of thing. She has the most incredible outfits, the cutest, sleekest outfits. I love her outfits in this show so much. It just really stands out. Her outfits really stand out. But anyways, I recommend both of these if you're looking for a grounded, realistic thriller or in the mood for that. The next category of TV shows perfect for fall are, for those of you who like horror and race genre bending movies and shows. Or maybe, like I said, maybe you're just in the mood for it. So, these are stories that combine maybe race and racism with horror, with the horror genre. So you may have enjoyed Jordan Peele's Get Out, The Blackening, or Antebellum. The recommendations in this category are The Other Black Girl. So that is a TV show based on a book. And it's kind of like a somewhat fantasy, surreal, kind of absurdist horror story that is playing off of a real life scenario where the lead character is at work. She's the only Black girl, and then they hire a new Black girl at work. And there's just some sort of mysterious things that go on with that. Because the new girl is great, they connect, but there's also some strange things that happen, some not so good things that happen. Kindred is the other one. It's also based on a book, a very famous book called Kindred by Octavia Butler. And this book is about time travel. This show is about a Black woman who travels through time. And it combines basically, a science fiction kind of story with, a story about Black history, Black American history in this country. And so I'm not getting into too many details with either of these because, maybe you're not in the mood for something that could be triggering or upsetting or very, much reminiscent of real life history, real life problems that we face as Black women. But I did want to include these in case you're someone who's in the mood to watch that or you really like watching that kind of content. And I've watched both when I was in the mood for it. You know what I mean? There were things that I enjoyed about both of them and things I didn't like, but there are also things I enjoyed. So that's why they're on this list in case you're in the mood for a show starring a Black woman along those lines. The next category of shows I recommend are magical shows, like, anything involving magic, elves, and monsters. So these are the recommendations for those of you who have a vibe that's like, look, I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I love Lost Girl, I loved Xena the Warrior Princess, those type of shows. So these are shows kind of along those lines, starring Black women, that you might want to check out this fall. The first one is The Witcher Blood Origin. So that's a spin-off show of The Witcher. I've never watched The Witcher, but I did check out this spin-off series, like mini-series. I think there's like 6 episodes that are like an hour long or something. But I checked out the spin-off series because it has a Black woman in the lead, and it was really good. There were things that I didn't love, but there was a lot I really liked about it. I loved seeing a Black woman elf, roaming around, just having romance, kicking butt, like having family, it was just really cool. The magical elements, it was very cool seeing a Black woman in this kind of role. Like, I grew up, watching The Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff. And so it was just cool seeing something like this, like a magical elven story that really centers a Black woman in the story. So you definitely check that out if that sounds like something that would interest you. The next one in this category is Domino Day Lone Witch. So that's a story about, with both of these, I have trouble kind of just giving you the story. It's like more so you got to see it, if it sounds good, then kind of just check it out. But let's just say, the lead character has magical powers that she doesn't understand, and ends up kind of going down this whole rabbit hole trying to figure out who she is and why she has the powers that she does. Yeah. And then I don't think I gave an overview for The Witcher Blood Origin. I'll just say the lead character is an elf and a very talented singer with also warrior fighting type of skills. And she and others band together to take down an evil foe. And I'll leave it at that and let you discover the rest if you decide to check those out. So next I want to move on to the movies that I recommend. We just went through the shows I recommend checking out for fall / #spooky season. Next I want to recommend movies. So these are also organized, based on kind of genre, kind of based on your vibe, your mood. But yeah, let's get right into it. So, okay, the first category we're going to get into are creature features. So, it's in the name. These are those monster movies. Like maybe you watched and enjoyed Anaconda, like big snake, big alligator, or mysterious monster type of movies. And just like the last category of TV shows, these are movies that all have Black women in the lead. So we'll start off with Sweetheart. This is I can't even remember everything from this movie, really. It was like let's say sort of Castaway vibes, except instead of Tom Hanks, it's the woman you see here. And, instead of being all alone, there's a mysterious thing there on the island. So if that sounds intriguing to you, definitely check that out. The next one is Run, Sweetheart, Run. This one involves, I think it starts with a date, a very mysterious date, a very mysterious, well, it's not really a date, like a business meeting, a very mysterious business meeting that goes awry. And I'll leave that description there so that there's some mystery when you go to watch it. The next one is Rampage. Rampage is a movie, actually The Rock is in this movie. You might have heard of it or seen it. But it's like a, if you like King Kong type of movie, it's one of those movies about the big creatures, and there's a Black woman in the leading role in this film. I really enjoyed it. If you like action films, or you want something a little bit more grounded in the creature feature space, then this one would be the way to go. It's less mystical, as I recall, and more realistic. The next one is Animal. I would say it's sort of the reverse. It's a little more mystical and less realistic. it's like about a group of friends who, like, the common sort of trope you've probably heard of. A group of friends goes like camping or something in the woods, and there's a strange creature out there. And there's a Black woman in the leading role in this. I believe it's Keke Palmer. And then the last one in this category is Alien versus Predator. It came out 2004. Crazy that that's 20 years ago, but I mean, I just discovered it like couple years ago. I literally just discovered this movie and watched it very recently, and I thought it looked good. It looked, decently recent. I was shocked it was from 20 years ago, to be honest. Highly recommend it. I think the Black woman in it is Sanaa Lathan, but I can't really recall. But yeah, like, this movie is, definitely for those of you, if you're into that franchise, then check it out. But generally, if you're in the mood for a creature feature, this could be a great one to check out. So the next category, is for those of you who like mystery movies. I mean, I had trouble coming up with examples for this, but if you liked The Intruder, starring Megan Good, if you liked the TV show Horror of Dolores Roach, then you might want to check this out. This is another category that's like more for people who are like kind of into something grounded, not necessarily magical or mystical, but kind of grounded in reality and like true crime type of stuff. So the movie in this category is Susie Searches. This movie's really good. It's there's a girl who, it's like she's trying to figure out who this serial killer is in her town. And so it's not like extremely scary, but it is like a thriller type of, horror-ish type of story. So if you're in the mood for something really fall, something really spooky season, but you don't want to be like necessarily completely terrified, you want something more like grounded or something in reality, then this one might be one to check out. But hey, don't hold me to it. These are all just opinions. Because if you watch it and you're really scared, don't come at me. The next category is ghost stories. So this is, speak for yourself. If you're in the mood for a movie that has ghosts, then check this out. So the recommendation is Darby and the Dead. This is a movie that is about a girl who like sees ghosts and kind of like helps them cross over, as I recall, to the other side. And one of her classmates passes away, and she ends up like trying to help her cross over to the other side, but then there's the classmate ends up trying to help her with something. It's something like that. One of the, it's again a story that you might have kind of seen something similar to before, but maybe you haven't seen it with a Black woman or a Black teenage girl in high school. So if that sounds interesting to you or that sounds fun, then I would definitely recommend checking that out. So the next category is, for those of you who do not want to watch something scary, but you want to watch something magical and fun, for the season, right? You want to kind of be in it. You want to be involved in it, but you don't want to be scared. So maybe you've enjoyed Shrek, in movies like that. Like, I mean, I love Shrek, but so it's not, I'm not dissing anyone, but it's like you really like Shrek, but you don't really like scary movies. Then here's a recommendation for you. So I'd recommend checking out The School for Good and Evil. It's not really scary, I would say, but it has a lot of magical elements and, different creatures and powers and, fairy tale type of vibes. So if that's, kind of what you're into or what you're in the mood for, then consider giving that one a watch this fall. The last category of movies that I'd like to recommend to you, I'm calling this category Zombies, Legends, and Imaginary Friends. Kind of covering a lot of bases there. But, these are things that really are pretty scary, that involve, a lot of cool different types of things. As you can see, it's pretty broad. One thing that comes to mind is The Walking Dead. So the recommendations for this category are 28 Days Later. This is a zombie movie, and similar to another movie I recommended, it is like on the older side, but don't let that dissuade you. I discovered it recently and I thought it was so good and entertaining and, a good solid zombie movie. The next one is Unwelcome. This one is extremely unique. I thought it was very scary. Played off of a very interesting myth or like legend that I'd never heard of. And so then I went down a rabbit hole Googling about the legend after watching it. It was just so interesting. Definitely a true horror film though. And then the last one in this category is Imaginary, which I thought was good. Also, you know, a little more on the scary side. I mean, it's not horrific or anything. For those of you who maybe are hesitant to watch like a super scary horror film, but I mean, there are jump scares and that sort of thing in Imaginary. So really all three of these are for those of you who are like, you know, you're really in the mood for a real horror movie, a true horror movie that will really get some of those jump scares in. But yeah, I hope that, you know, you found something in this video that's helpful to you. If you did, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear if you're going to watch any of this. It would really mean a lot to me to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.